Behind me is a 2019 Rockwood 2280 Stick around because today I'm going to share with you everything that I did to take this average pop-up and turn it into an off-grid camping machine. Let's go. All right guys, so let's start at the front of the camper. One of the first things that I did was upgrade to an electric tongue jack. This makes life and camping just a little bit easier, and I think it's worth the upgrade. Pop-up campers are notorious for having a limited amount of storage. So my father-in-law was able to help me cut off the welds to the propane tank and the battery tray. And by repositioning the propane, I was able to install this Harbor Freight tongue box. It fits perfectly where the propanes used to be. So I'm able to store my electric chainsaw, my leveling chocks, my drill, my fire tongs, my air compressor, and other miscellaneous items that you need for camping. Pro tip, I highly recommend these Anderson leveling blocks. It's a quick and easy way to level your pop-up. If you're interested, I've got a link down below. So by moving the propane tanks inside the storage area, I was now able to upgrade to 30-pound tanks because I gained the clearance underneath the bed. So this upgrade simply extends our camping trips. If you winter camp like we do, I highly recommend this upgrade. I also added 2 fishing pole holders on each side of the tongue box. These work extremely well at storing my fishing poles while we're traveling. So water capacity on a pop-up is typically one of the limiting factors on how many days you can camp off-grid. So when we were moving the propane and the battery tray, we also elected to weld on these 20-gallon jerry can holders. So I have added some additional weight to the tongue of the camper. However, I was able to remove the 65-pound AGM battery that came with my camper. So to help level the truck and the camper for better ride quality, I've installed Firestone Rite airbags. It's a simple modification. I did it myself. It's the best $300 you can spend on your vehicle to make your ride quality that much better. And I use a simple 12-volt air pump paired with my Jackery to inflate the airbags on my truck. So this next modification is a simple one, and you don't know how convenient it is until you actually install it. I permanently installed pressure-treated lumber on the bottom of my stabilizer jacks. Another pro tip, if you're not using a cordless drill, you're wasting your time. So this is the Trasharoo bag. It mounts to your spare wheel. And I started using this for hauling firewood, but I soon found out that I think the added weight was too much for the pop-up camper to handle. So now I primarily only use the bag to carry my portable solar panel wiring, and when we're leaving camp and we have any trash, I'll store my trash in here while we head out. So another pro tip, I store my bed supports right here underneath this vinyl skirt. So as a family, we love to cook outside, and I wanted to create an environment to be organized while we're doing that. When we used to tent camp, I created a camping chuck box that we put in the back of the truck, fit perfectly in our tent. But that thing couldn't come with us because it's too big. So I really wanted to incorporate one of these into our new camper. And this is what I came up with. And my number one priority was it had to fit in the pop-up. It's basically the first thing out and the last thing in. We have this lip that holds a shelf, or it held the barbecue. Both those got tossed in the trash. And I'm gonna do more of a detailed video breaking down how I built this. Another pro tip, I always use a 12-inch lag bolt electric drill to secure my awning to the ground. I've been in 30, 40 mile-an-hour gust, haven't had an issue with my Dometic awning. So here's a simple and cool modification. I bought this fishing rod holder off Amazon, added some magnets to it, and now I have a simple place to put my fishing rods when I get to camp. I installed 2 level indicators, which I can easily see from outside the door. I'll get the camper pretty close to level before using the stabilizers to fine-tune it by looking at the levels. So our camper came with one of these pantry hanging storage units that hang from the ceiling, and I went ahead and bought 2 more. We have 1 for the pantry and 2 for clothes. They work out really well. My wife and I will share one, and the kids will get their own locker. We actually take these inside to the house and we pack up our clothes before we head off to our camping adventure. All right, let's talk solar. I've got 350 watts on the roof. I've also got a portable 100 watt solar panel, and both of these are going through Victron solar controllers. All that solar power is being pumped into 200 amp hours of lithium battle-borne batteries. With a 10-year warranty and the ability to discharge 100% of the battery capacity 5,000 cycles are just a few benefits why I chose lithium batteries over a traditional battery. I also pulled out the stock inverter and removed the charger before I installed the Victron 2000 watt multi-plus inverter charger. While towing the camper, I'm able to charge the batteries with the solar on the roof, and I also installed the Victron Orion DC to DC charger, giving me a total of 50 to 60 amps of charging while towing. So here's a simple hack that we use for our trash bag. Paracord hanging from the ceiling down to a carabiner, and we just use Walmart bags. When it gets full, we'll take it out. So we already own the Dometic CFX 40 from our tent camping days, and luckily it just fit perfect between the stove and the bed. And when I was rewiring the camper, all I had to do was install an easy 12-volt plug behind the cooler. So if you're looking for more refrigerator space and you're tired of dealing with bags of ice and coolers, I highly recommend the Dometic CFX. Links below if you're interested. So this next modification, in my opinion, was messed up from the manufacturer to begin with. On the shower lid, the manufacturer used a thin piece of cedar, which cedar is extremely soft, to attach to the Popupcamper, and that's what they screwed the piano hinge into. On top of that, mine didn't open all the way. It only opened to about, I don't know, maybe 80 degrees. This shower is already small enough as it is, and so I wanted to extend this all the way to 90. So what I did is I replaced the bracket with a solid piece of maple, and I reinforced the gas strut hinge. So here's another pro tip to try to clean around your toilet seat. Just pull up on it. Now you can wipe all that blue stuff that spills everywhere. How many of you guys have drainage issues in your pop-up? I used to have that issue until I came across a post on Facebook where Joshua Curtis, he solved that problem for the 2280 ESP. Check this out. So this would normally take a few minutes. When I say few, I mean like 20 minutes to drain. It's probably a good gallon worth of water. Gone. Not only did this solve the drainage issues, I also solved 2 more problems. My shower is now connected to the sink drain, and finally, I can use a 3-inch RV sewer hose when we do have full hookups. You'll also notice I insulated my water tank hose going to the pump to avoid it freezing. While I was installing the new drains, I saw an opportunity to flip the shower faucet. Now the nozzle reaches the ceiling, making showering a lot easier. I also made this simple paracord hook. It holds up the shower nozzle. And now you don't have to search for it on the floor when you have soap in your eyes when taking military showers. By installing hooks on the ceiling, this simply helps get clothes off the ground. So this next modification is extremely simple. The access doors on the 2280 use screw holes into MDF. Once you unscrew those 2 or 3 times, they're pretty much useless and stripped out. So I went ahead and added door hinges, and I added magnets on the larger access door to get into the hot water heater. And what this does is, in case you did have a water leak, I'm able to open these doors and check really quick to make sure I have a water leak if I need to turn off my pump. Also, you'll notice that I added commercial flooring to the camper. This is 24 by 24 carpet tiles, and this just adds an additional layer of insulation, and on those cold winter nights camping, my feet don't get cold. So this is the system that I use when I'm out dry camping to get more water. It's a 12-volt pump powered by the Jackery that goes through a 3-stage filter straight into my jerry can, or if I'm lucky, straight into my camper. So even with all that solar and that lithium power I have on this camper, I still recommend one of these Jackery 240s, the 500 or the 1000. We like to be able to charge our phones, our tablets, charging my batteries for the camera right now. The USB chargers on the camper are down near the ground. My kids play with them, they pull them out, we trip over them. I'm a huge fan of these things. Links down below. All right, guys, that's a tour of my Rockwood 2280 ESP. I hope you enjoyed that. And stick around and subscribe because I got more things planned down the pipeline. I'm probably gonna dive deeper into my solar lithium package. I'm also gonna dive a little bit deeper into my camping chuck box that hangs off that manufacturer hook. Down below are links to all the items that I've purchased for my pop-up camper. Well, that's it from me, guys. Safe travels on your next adventure.